This Week with George Stephanopoulos starts right now.
We're on the ground at the southern border. What change have you seen in the past couple of months?
Why did you leave Brazil?
There's a lot of violence down there.
At the heart of an emerging crisis for the Biden presidency.
I can say quite clearly, don't come. And what we're in the process of getting set up is to be able to apply for asylum in place.
What more can he do?
He's got a big microphone. He needs to use it.
Facing a massive influx of migrants and unaccompanied minors, concerns about dire conditions at crowded facilities. We take you on our journey along the border, in the air and on the ground, in Mexico and on this side of the wall. What do you think should have happened?
Collaboration.
Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas brings us the administration's perspective, the Republican response from Texas Representative Michael McCaul and Arizona Governor Doug Ducey, plus the latest analysis from our team, joining us in El Paso, and
Hate can have no safe harbor in America.
heartbreak and outrage across the country, the Asian American community shaken and on edge. We discuss the road ahead with Representative Judy Chu.
From ABC News, this is a special edition of This Week, live from El Paso, Texas. Here now, co-anchor Martha Raddatz.
Good morning and welcome to This Week. We join you this morning from El Paso, Texas, Mexico, just beyond that fence you see right behind me. So many on the other side desperate to cross the border, and so many here on U.S. soil calling for change, pressuring the Biden administration, loath to label this a crisis, even as the tide of migrants surges. The number of unaccompanied children and teenagers in Border Patrol custody reaching record numbers. Children forced to stay longer in overcrowded facilities. The media not allowed inside. The administration restricting access despite promising transparency, citing COVID and privacy concerns. The issue that at times plagued the previous administration now presenting a challenge to the Biden administration, one that shows no sign of abating anytime soon. We'll examine all the angles this morning. Moments ago, I spoke with Biden's Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. But first, despite the obstacles, we begin this morning with exclusive reporting along and above the border, speaking with stakeholders and those making the treacherous journey to the U.S. Flying low and fast over the dust of Arizona's desert, the view of the southern border is stark. Arizona's Department of Public Safety Rangers, who provide search and rescue, show us miles of wall and gaps where construction was halted after Joe Biden took office. One of President Biden's first executive actions was to dismantle the Trump administration's immigration policies, tough policies that critics considered shameful.
We made a policy decision that was the right, humane step to take.
And while the numbers usually increase after the winter, devastating hurricanes in Central America last year may have prompted more to attempt the trip, Customs and Border Protection show overall a nearly 30% increase last month from January, with 100,000 people attempting to cross the southwest border. Nearly 30,000 of them were unaccompanied minors. This group from Venezuela crossing the river near Del Rio, Texas. A small boy carried across on shoulders, his feet skimming the water. 50 miles away, a similar scene.
A group of 4 just crossed the river. Agents are here already, so they made it across. They're going to go to a processing center, and we'll see from there. This happens every day.
This significant surge coming after President Biden ended Donald Trump's so-called Remain in Mexico policy, requiring asylum seekers to wait there for their court proceedings. Since then, many of those tent cities along the Mexican border have emptied out as people start streaming in. We were there when a bus of 56 asylum seekers arrived at Casa Alitas, a Catholic charity shelter in Tucson. Men, pregnant women, and children stepping off the bus with only what they could carry. This father, who asked that we not show his face, traveled to Mexico from Brazil with his wife and 3 young kids before crossing the border.
Would you have tried to do this when Donald Trump was president?
Definitely not. Definitely. We had the chance, you know, the same violence that's going on today was there last year. We used to watch the news, and I definitely won't do this.
So did you come here because Joe Biden was elected president?
Basically. The main thing was the violence in my country. And the second thing, I think, was Joe Biden. It's like letting up my hope. You know what I mean?
Director Diego Pina Lopez has seen a steady uptick.
I think right now we're going to be dealing with fixing years of policies that really inhibited people's rights to claim asylum and find a safe place to go.
You've heard some call this a crisis right now. Is it a crisis?
The crisis really started when we stopped supporting these people. This is just really a consequence of those decisions.
The subject can be heard in a verbal about 3 houses east of that location.
But for those charged with protecting border towns, the problem has gotten much worse in the past few months.
We're losing all our resources.
And why?
Look at the checkpoints. They're down because they've been diverted to other assignments. They become child care and processing instead of securing the border.
Sheriff Mark Daniels drove us through Cochise County, Arizona.
What change have you seen in the past couple of months?
A big difference. The messaging has changed. And the message is that this border is open for business and you can come across. And if you get across, there will be no consequences. That's the message we hear.
Arizona Governor Doug Ducey feels the same.
To have 460% spike in illegal apprehensions, over 100,000 people in custody, 13,000 migrant children. This is a historic record for the agency. It's been the reverse of the Biden administration, of the Trump policies, and it needs attention.
We flew alongside the governor as he took an aerial tour of the border to see the situation for himself. He says Joe Biden is to blame.
And what is it exactly? Is it the remain in Mexico? What's made the huge difference? Or is it, as your sheriff says, it's the messaging?
Well, it's a combination of things. Of course, the migrant protection protocols was a good policy, and it was working. It disincentivized people from taking this dangerous trip.
You heard President Biden say the other day, don't come. What more can he do?
He certainly can communicate more often, more clearly, and he should be talking to President Obrador. He's got a big microphone. He needs to use it appropriately.
But the Biden administration has turned back the majority of those crossing into the U.S., many distraught after believing they would find refuge in America. We walked into Juarez, Mexico, a city racked with violence, to find Ophelia and her 10-year-old son, now headed back to Guatemala after being sent back to Mexico. The reason she risked everything?
Él prometió que sí pasaba así con menores.
Biden promised that we can cross with minors.
She said she heard that because of President Biden, she would be welcome.